Right. Good evening, everyone. This meeting will be conducted entirely via video conferencing. The public may view and listen to the meeting at the following live stream URL, www.metrotech.edu/mtc-live. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Joanne, will you call the roll?
Yes. Mr. Perry,
Here.
Ms. McKinney,
Here.
Ms. Richards,
Here.
Mr. Latham,
Here.
Dr. Teray,
Present.
Ms. Campos,
Here.
Mr. McKinney.
Here.
Sorry, I cut out. All present.
Okay, we have a quorum. We'll move to item number 3 on the agenda, the superintendent's report. Superintendent Collins?
Thank you, President Latham. We have several updates I want to give to you at this time. First of all, I just want to shout out, I'm just so excited about our faculty, our instructors, staff, transportation, maintenance, custodial facilities, grounds, administrators. Board members, I am so pleased, I'm elated to tell you about the work that they've accomplished. We now have Oklahoma City's students here on campus, and through these very difficult times, through these challenging times, people are saying, yes, I can clean that and wipe that off before the next set of students get here. Yes, I can drive a bus. Yes, I can add this to my duties. Yes, I can change my classroom this way. Yes, I can adjust the curriculum this way. Yes, we can look at doing this with grounds. Yes, we've gotten 5 inches in 2 hours and we have a leak and we need to go take care of it. Yes, we'll get this moved. Our employees know what is right and do what is right. And in these unusual and challenging times, they're working together to provide a safe and clean instructional environment for our students. I could not be more proud of the work that they're doing. The enrollment and attendance continues to improve as we welcome additional students. As I said, this week, we have over 1,000 students enrolled. We're completing adult training and career development training as well. Those year-to-date enrollments are 519. We continue to see student services, students in student services. Again, that's appointment only, but we are servicing those students in student services with an appointment. And we appreciate our students' patience as we work through those appointments, appreciate them going through security and going through that screening and temperature check. Appreciate our site directors, our emergency response team, the work they're doing on COVID tracing. This is going well. Those processes are in place and they're working. We're refining those processes over the next week as we have more students on campus. We will implement improved processes next week. I appreciate Melanie Stinnett, Laura Belden for their assessment and assisting to support directors and these processes and making changes as needed. We do have pricing to repair property and a culvert at 36 and Martin Luther King. This item will be placed on the October board meeting. I'll quickly review those numbers. If we do the price option of $611,408.12, that would allow a parking lot on that property. But that's about it. If you go then with the $712,765.04, that will allow a building to go on that, but we need to verify the size of that property first and to be able to then tell you and clarify how big of a structure we can do with a parking lot. If just a ditch / pond area, then you're looking at $559,000, $559,085.42 to do that. So I will have more communications with the city and to give them and let them know of these numbers. And then I'll come back to the board next month. That will be, a board item then for you to be able to discuss and give me then direction on that. We have a revised scope and plan for the downtown campus, should have preliminary numbers soon. That construction is being handled through the owner, Mark Bedford of Corporate Tower LLC. Again, just as a reminder, as we said last month, the board set aside $70,000 for technology and Adobe Lab. We're moving forward with our construction projects, and those plans have been shared with the board. We'll be getting into cosmetology next week, finalizing the cost of the ATC, finishing up the scope on Building A. That has sped up. The process for those have sped up quite quickly, and we're proud of that and glad of that. As you know, we lose money every day we're not building, so we need to be building. And
Amen, brother.
and doing that at a quick pace. So the STEM lab have received certificate of occupancy for the new STEM lab. Staff
Hey.
already begun process of moving into that. Appreciate the warehouse staff and the work that they're doing. Appreciate Joe sending in this update for that. But the shop floor has an area of almost 3,700 square feet, along with high ceilings to allow plenty of space for students to work on their projects. So excited about that. And then also do want to make mention from Joe's report too about cosmetology. Cosmetology, we're hoping the goal is to have certificate of occupancy by this Friday, September 4th. Teachers have toured that facility, and it was really cool. Dr. Bills and I got to speak with a student as we were about to start the board meeting, and you could just see the glow on their face of them speaking about the building that they got to tour. So that's just wonderful news. And be able to begin classes then, we hope, after the Labor Day holiday is the plan. That really completes the majority of that report. We continue to work on various programs such as dispatch, and we did receive a letter from the sheriff supporting that, so we appreciate that. And we're continuing to move and grow, and just so appreciative of the work, of the teamwork that we have going on at Metro Tech. It is with my pleasure, if it's okay, Mr. Latham, is that I would like to turn this over at this time to Brian Lieber, our site director of the STEM Academy, for this month's student highlight.
All right. I love the enthusiasm. So thank you for this opportunity to present Superintendent Collins and Board of Education at Metro Tech. I have 3 students I'd like to introduce, so just give me about a minute, and I'm going to get a little spiel about each one of them. All 3 of them completed the pre-engineering program at Metro Tech. So first, we have Ashley Sapien. She completed the program in pre-engineering in 2019. She's also a graduate of Northwest Classen. She's currently majoring in enterprise development at OSU OKC. She also works part-time for Ashley Gibson over in the foundation. She plans on, after she finishes her associate's degree, she plans on going to OU to major in architecture. She did a short little internship also while at Metro Tech with NASA down in Houston. That was a really big deal. Case Perong is our next student highlight. He's also a sophomore. He's at OU majoring in civil engineering. He graduated from Southeast in 2019. Case had a big summer a couple summers ago where he actually placed second nationally in 3D CAD architecture at the national competition. He's also a member of Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers at OU. And our third student highlight is Miguel Payon. Miguel is a junior. He graduated in 2018 from our program in pre-engineering, as well as Aztec Charter. He is majoring in architectural engineering at OU. He's very active on campus in multiple organizations. He's an officer of the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, and he was selected as one of 100 students to study abroad in Italy, focusing on leadership and activism. And Superintendent Collins, you would like to know that a couple years ago, he was the Superintendent High School Student of the Year for the district. So in 2018. So I would like to start off with Ashley Sapien. She's going to come on here and she is going to tell you a little bit more about herself and what she's doing now. Take it away, Ashley.
Hey, oh my God. Oh, I'm so nervous. That's how you can
Don't
tell
be
I'm
nervous. Don't be
that's how you
nervous.
can tell I'm an engineering student because we're not really social people. So I'm already breaking down. Oh, okay. So, hi, my name is Ashley. I am currently studying at OSU OKC. I am graduating this spring with an associate's degree in enterprise development. And I am planning on transferring to OU next fall to pursue my career in architecture. I actually had a very unique experience last year, the year before. I got to go to NASA, and it was a very fun experience. I got to go because I was part of this group called Upward Bound, and they interacted with me a lot, and they were super helpful. They helped me get scholarships, and they helped me network with people that were just amazing. And because of that, I got to go to NASA, and we got to work with a lot of engineers. We got to work hands-on with stuff. We got to see like rockets, and they gave us a whole tour of their base. We got to stay in their hotel, and it was just incredible. And I'll never forget that moment and event. But that's something that I will always remember. And I only got into that program, and I only got to go to NASA was because of pre-engineering. They thought it was cool that I was taking classes at Metro Tech for pre-engineering, and I was just so excited. I was like, oh, I want to apply. And like they used that as well as my robotics background, and they asked me a lot about like what we did, and I was just like, oh, like I help manage the team. They would make fun of me because I would boss everyone around, and I would be like, oh, we're doing this at this time, and then doing this other thing at like this time, because I would always be bossing them around. And a lot I learned from robotics was like my professional and my personal skills. I worked with a lot of people in robotics. I had to talk to a lot of people. I had to do scouting, which is I have to see what the other robots did. I had to see what their defenses were, what their weakness were. And it was a very fun experience because I feel like people just gave me energy, and I just loved being very hyped up about it. And that wouldn't have happened if I didn't join Metro Tech. So I'm very grateful to Metro Tech for that. Oh, what else? I am currently working for an amazing time here. Ashley is just amazing. She has taught me so much. And right now she's blushing and saying, no, I haven't. But she has taught me a lot. And Like I can't do anything without her because I feel like she's like my support system. And I'm very happy to be working with her and to be under her supervision. Um, I just want to come on here to say I really do love Metro Tech. So if you guys have any questions, I can answer them for you.
Thank you.
Outstanding.
Yeah. Proud of you, Ashley.
Thank you.
Ashley, you said you were at from Northwest Classen, is that correct?
Ye-
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I was from Northwest Class and that was my homeschool. Yeah.
Well, thank you for representing our females in engineering.
Yeah, totally. Thank you.
Before I introduce the next one, Ashley shared with me recently that you speak of representing the females, that the women that teach within the STEM program very much have empowered her and really kind of showed her the way of what she needs to do in life and career. So I thought that was a pretty
Yes,
powerful message that she gave to me.
Yeah, because of women like Miss Tran, Mary Tran, Janet Portwood, and Miss Freeman, they have been incredible to me. They have shown me that being a woman in the architecture or STEM field, wherever you might go, might be tough, but it's like we need more women. And I consider myself a feminist, so I do go for it. And I actually just received some information that less than 1% of architects are Hispanic females. So I'm just feel very grateful to go into that field and continue like represent my people.
We're grateful for you, Ashley. Just
Yeah.
thank you so much for taking the time to share with us your story, and we're impressed by your achievements, and we just can't wait to see what's next for you.
Thank you, Ashley. Next student
Thanks.
needs the floor is Case Perrong. Case.
Hey guys, how y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. As Mr. Lieber said, I graduated from the pre-engineering program in 2019, and I'm currently a sophomore in the civil engineering, a civil engineering major at the University of Oklahoma. I would just like to say that without some of the courses at Metro Tech, I wouldn't have even been an engineering major. I truly fell in love with engineering my sophomore year, the first year I was in the program. And I actually decided that I wanted to be a civil engineering major my junior year when I took the CEA course with Professor Janet Portwood. And she really inspired me to just continue with that because she saw the love I had. And that course is what allowed me to compete in a TSA competition, 3D CAD architecture, that I had the privilege of going to Washington, D.C. to compete at nationals. Without that, I really wouldn't have chosen to pursue a career in civil engineering. I actually preferred law before the program, but after taking all the different courses like SIM and which is an acronym, and IED, which is another acronym for computer integrated manufacturing and introduction to engineering design. Without those courses, I wouldn't have even known that I could have, had an opportunity to pursue that career, or that I'd be good at any of that. And so I'd like to thank not only Ms. Forwood, but Professor Goldsmith, and then all of the other professors, Mary Tran, and just everybody there. I also want to say that I am very grateful for the courses like the physics courses, both AP Physics 1 and 2, which are taught by Ms. Freeman. And without that, I wouldn't have had a smooth transition into the coursework here and the AP Calc course. The math and science was really big, and I don't think I would have had the same smooth start in college without that kind of experience. And so I'm just really grateful for all that Metro Tech provides and all of that experience. That's all I have. If there's any other questions for me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Which high school did you come from?
What'd you say, Matt?
Which high school were you?
Oh, I went to Southeast High School.
Proud of you, Case.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming back and telling us your story and making us proud.
Of course.
And now, if I'm not mistaken, your mom also may be part of the Metro Tech family.
Right. That's correct.
Great job, Case.
Yeah,
Thank
he may
you.
have a connection.
Great to see the legacy. So,
Thank you.
Thank you, Case.
Thanks.
All right, next student up, we have Miguel Payon. Miguel, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Well, you have the
Sweet.
floor.
Awesome. Well, I just want to take a minute to thank you all for inviting me here and tell my own personal story that I've had with Metro Tech. But as Mr. Lieber was introducing me, I'm a third-year student studying architectural engineering, and it's honestly one of my passions that I really love, and I love studying it. But here at my time at OU, I've had like different opportunities. I've gotten to travel to Phoenix, Cleveland, Baton Rouge, through like SHEP, the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, whether it be through like national conventions or just regional conferences. Mr. Lieber also mentioned that I got to study abroad with President's Leadership Class, PLC, and that was just an amazing experience because I've gone out of the country a couple times, but never like overseas. And then like I also had an internship this last fall at the Irani Center for the Creation of Economic Wealth. It's acronym in ICCEW, but it's a handful. And I really want to like just start off like my little personal story with this internship. So this internship really emphasizes on like consulting with like local organizations that are around Norman. And then I applied on a whim, and I applied for the engineering intern group, and I got selected. And the project that was disclosed at the beginning of the year was that my group of engineers were supposed to create a medically assistive device to help individuals with late-stage Parkinson's disease. And late-stage Parkinson's disease, people who are diagnosed with that suffer episodes of freezing of gait, which is when your motor system kind of disconnects from your brain system. So like you have some stuttering movement, and this is a very expensive disease. And my group was tasked to create something that would like help mitigate these effects of freezing of gait. And while the first 2-3 weeks of this internship, I felt clueless because I was a sophomore, while everybody else was a senior. I felt like that case of imposter syndrome. Whenever we started prototyping our design, that's when like the skills and things I learned at Metro Tech really like flourished. So whenever we started designing our prototype, I was the only one on the team who had some sort of CAD experience, so like computer aided design. And this was really like helpful for the group, so we could like 3D print our prototype, test it. And I'm sure like without my experience at Metro Tech, my group wouldn't have been able to like deliver a strong project as we did. And I just want to show an emphasis on that. But basically, my relationship with Metro Tech has really made me realize that it basically leveled out the playing field during my time here at OU. Typically, the people who aren't in my classes come from like families of engineers or just simply affluent school districts. I know I had a couple rough semesters going into college, but like this past spring has been like my best one academically, mentally, and just all around. And I really saw like the fruits of Metro Tech also go into my classes, being introduced to those fundamental engineering concepts that like are just beam analysis with support, is when I started learning those in college. And I just felt like this sense of education equity was really achieved there because I did not have to like struggle as much as I otherwise should have, because I was already introduced to these concepts that the professor was talking about. I know Case mentioned that like his favorite class was civil engineering and architectural, CEA, and I want to say that was my favorite class too. But the instructors at Metro Tech, such as Ms. Portwood, Ms. Tran, Mr. Goldsmith, Ms. Freeman, have just influenced me so much and have like really gave me the confidence that I didn't know I had, to like really not necessarily thrive as a student here, but just handle more as a student here at OU. And I just really want to thank Metro Tech one more time because I'm not sure if you all know this, but I have a twin sister. She is also a graduate of Metro Tech. She was in the cadet program. And as Mr. Lieber mentioned, I was named Superintendent Student of the Year. And I think the foundation, or I know the foundation gave me a couple other scholarships. So like sending 2 kids to college at once was a real, is a challenge in general, right? So just having like another student sent to college was really draining on my household, but like Metro Tech really gave me that financial stability that let me not necessarily worry so much about like having a job, so I could worry more about my academics and be a better student altogether. So that's about it. That wraps up my anecdote and my relationship with Metro Tech.
Outstanding.
Very proud of you, Miguel. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Miguel, you just made my day.
Yeah.
So wonderful.
Miguel,
Mhm.
thank you for sharing your story and continue to talk about Metro Tech for us everywhere you go. We know that you're going to go to more places like you just mentioned. You're making us proud. We appreciate your time and keep shooting for the stars.
Well, I just want to
Good work, Miguel.
say real quickly that I love the fact that all 3 of the stories that were highlighted tonight are going to OU, the best university in the state of Oklahoma. I'm just really proud to see that continuation of things. And I know Mr. Perry feels the same way. So I just wanted to give a quick sooner to that one. So.
I hope, I'm sorry they couldn't get into OSU, but OU will do fine.
Well, to Miguel and Ashley and Case, I want you to know you are why we are here doing what we do. And I'm telling you, you are very inspirational. So thank you, Mr. Lieber. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and I think one of the most important things that was said this night is that because of Metro Tech, they were able to get in that playing field with the rest of the engineers. And I think that's super important to take with everything that we do, is that we are putting them at that level where they need to be competitive with anyone. So thank you all for the work.
All right. Thank you, students. Appreciate your time. Great stories tonight. And obviously, what was in common there, all of them did a great job thanking their teachers, and I know those teachers appreciate that.
Amen.
Thank you, Brian.
I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Collins. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian, appreciate that so much. And we have a better understanding due to Ashley, Case, and Miguel about what Metro Tech's all about tonight. So Ashley, Case, Miguel, thank you for your willingness to come back and share your story. It takes effort on your part, and you have to get past some nerves to do this. I won't tell you how many hundreds of people are watching tonight, but the whole idea is this: what a great privilege it is for us. How grateful we are that you chose Metro Tech and your willingness to share your story with others. So thank you. Thank you to our teachers, and thank you to all of Metro Tech. Again, as we talked about with our faculty and staff earlier, you do a marvelous job. As I've been saying at the end of each video, it's a great day to be at Metro Tech. Truly, today is a great day to be at Metro Tech. So thank you for that reminder, Ashley, Case, and Miguel, as well as Mr. Lieber for taking the time to do that. Were there any other comments from board members before I move forward?
I just appreciate Miriam's comment. I thought it was well put.
Absolutely. Anything else before we move forward? Wonderful. That's something we're working on with our directors now, and how this may look like for the future, and do more of student presentations and student recognition. So we're looking forward to that, and to be able to hear from partners as well, and students from all of our campuses. So that's really what we're working on, and we'll share with you more, and when we have that process complete, and how we'll do that to be able to share out that great news even more. We have much to shout out about. Thinking about shouting out, Perkins 5 has really been a brand new process for Perkins. I want to scream out and say, I really don't have words for how appreciative I am of Randa Perong, and how appreciative I am of Kyle Williams. Those two did an amazing job to get our application together, and to do that. We do have a team as well working with that, and so I appreciate them, and really appreciate Randa and Kyle in getting that together. And we'll be moving forward with that Carl Perkins and with the Perkins grant, and excited to announce that Miss Bertha Robinson will be taking that over for us in the future, and looking for towards her leadership and the processes for that. But I would be amiss if I did not thank Randa and Kyle for the great work they did with that. You'll see that later on in tonight's board agenda. Next is financial treasurer's report for the month. Mr. Genhart, our interim treasurer.
Good evening, Superintendent Collins and board.
Good evening.
Nice to see everybody. I'm going to present the treasurer's report for the month, and looking at your packet related to the treasurer's report, you see a comparison of what we received in July for the last 3 fiscal years. That kind of gives you a snapshot of this moment in time of the last 3 years in comparison. And if you look at fiscal year 21 for the general fund, at the very bottom, the ending fund balance of $4.5 million is about $3 million higher than where we were at this time last year. And we talk about fund balance a lot this time of the year because, as you know, our ad valorem collections don't start coming in real heavy until November and December. And so we have to rely on that fund balance to make up those the difference in revenue and expenditures over these few months. And we're at a comfortable level right now, and we're sitting really good, much better than we were this time last year. On the building fund, trying to operate 2 devices at once here. Building fund, we're looking much better than we were this time last year as well. We're at 6.3 million in fund balance right now. Or last year we were at 4.4. You'll see an estimated fund balance on each of these funds down there at the bottom, very bottom right. That's where if everything stayed the same as it was for the remainder of the year last year, that's where it would be right now. So that kind of gives you an idea of where we expect to sit without any major changes in the overall expenditures for the year. Then looking at the bond fund, we only got 2 years to compare for the bond fund and the sinking fund. On the bond fund that you're going to see, we had the funds deposited last year. So all we're working with there is carrying over that fund balance and depositing the interest and transferring that to our general fund. So we've got 75,000 for the month of July for interest earnings there.
Unknown caller.
We estimate. And then in the sinking fund, that is the ad valorem collections we get for our debt service. So that's just a record of those. The only expenditures we have on that is our bond payments and our bond interest payments, which are made semi-annually each year. The interest payments will come up in December, and then the bond payment of $8 million itself will be paid in June of 21. We'll see that number increase as we get our ad valorem collections. On the investments, you see the investments page. It's a tough market out there for interest rates. We were able to secure a couple of investments with First Security Bank. We like to partner with them as much as we can. They are a great proponent of Metro Tech and support us in a lot of our endeavors. So they did negotiate a higher rate than what is out there now to work together on those money market and CDs there. So we're sitting good on investments there. We got plenty of liquid funds ready to pay out those construction projects as they come up. With that should include my report for the treasurer's report, unless anybody has any questions.
Yeah, Matt, in terms of when we see the next round of property taxes and what the estimates are on that, when should we see those? Understanding that COVID is likely to hit the commercial market pretty heavily, and that a lot of our increase that we've seen over the last few years is in the commercial real estate market. Do we have any indication of when that comes through, and have we heard anything from the county assessor or anyone else as to what that's going to look like?
No, they actually just completed their valuations, and we've got our 2020 numbers. You'll see that in that sinking fund estimate needs later in the agenda, but we're showing an increase of 4.2% in our ad valorem valuation, and we've had a steady increase of 4.214 over the last 5 years. So that's really good for up to this point. Now, I have not heard of anything that's going to really majorly affect that immediately, but we've definitely got our ears out there on, and we'll keep that on the forefront of our thoughts there.
When you say they just completed that, July, when was that?
I'm sorry?
When you say they just completed that,
it was just the report just came out last week. Every year they put out the ad valorem, the assessment report for us to operate our ad valorem assessments on for our budget. And so next month you'll also see an adjustment to our original budget that incorporates these changes, which right now total I'm seeing a $1.6 million increase in what we have previously budgeted between the building and general fund. So you'll see that on the next board agenda for a budget adjustment.
So if Matt, Mr. Genhart, if that's correct, then with that ad valorem and those projections, then what that means is that we'll be real close to becoming flat because we've already have prepared for a 12% reduction.
Exactly. That's where I was going to go with that later. So yes, very good point.
So it's real,
So
I mean,
we're
it's
thankful
an
that
increase for that, but overall, there's really no increase because of the 12% that we are projecting not having from career tech.
the state. Yes, correct.
We are liquid.
We're very liquid, right?
Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome.
Mr. Genhart, did you have any more comments for the board? I apologize.
That concludes my report. I appreciate it.
Any other board comments or questions? I see none. Thank you, Mr. Genhart, for the report. Just want to go over quickly some upcoming events. As you know, there is a small basketball game being played tomorrow night. And so Metro employees have the opportunity to wear that apparel tomorrow to work. I believe it's a game 7 tomorrow. Labor Day holiday coming up on Monday. Of course, we have opportunity, the Greater Oklahoma City Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the taste testing, the Oklahoma Ethics Annual Awards. And we're excited about that and would highly suggest you sign up for that. So we're always appreciative of the opportunity to be able to join in that and to be able to apply for that each year. Also the Latino Community Development Agency, their virtual awards and recognition event, September 23rd, the South Oklahoma City Chambers Southern Stampede. October special virtual called board meeting is October 6th. The Metro Tech Foundation, the Dr. Portis Memorial Golf Tournament is October 30th. We have then the ACTE's Career Tech Virtual Vision 2020, Monday through Friday, November 30th through December 4th. And then the Metro Tech Foundation Annual Sowing the Seeds. We want you to go ahead and be reminded of that change to April 29th. So lots going on. All these are reminders to our board members. Of course, we highly suggest and hope you will take advantage of these opportunities and appreciate these partnerships. I will take any questions at this time that I may have missed in my report, and then we'll go to board member reports. I'm seeing none. So, Mr. Latham, I believe we're at board member reports.
Great. Do we have any board member reports?
I was just going to jump in and say to some of those events, I'd highly encourage you to support some of these organizations, and the Latino Community Development Agency is going virtual with their event. So if you are able to join, we'd love to see you. You might see some familiar faces there, but we'd love to have you all join and learn about what they're doing.
Yeah, we highly suggest the LCDA awards and to support that, absolutely.
Any other board member reports? I'll just say that while Gary and I don't necessarily agree on college football, we can get behind wearing the proper basketball team's attire tomorrow for game 7. So we can always find some common ground there. So really excited to see you in your blue and orange suit, Superintendent Collins. I hope you've got one of those picked out already since you came to town. So.
If not, we have some friends.
We know some people who can get you one of those. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Any other board member reports? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move to item number 4, Chief Officers and Associate Superintendent Board Reports for review.
So you got to see those, Mr. Latham. They've been reported to you guys. And so we'll ask if any of the board members have any questions for anything that they saw there or any comments that they'd like to make from what they saw there. hopefully those are helpful, and that's something new that we've now done for the board.
I won't speak for everyone else, but I thought it was really informative, and I appreciate you guys putting those together. I hope everyone understands that those help us keep in touch with the pulse of things at Metro Tech.
Absolutely. I think it's a great addition to the board meeting, and a great addition to hearing and realizing the support we have and the great work that's being done by all of our departments here at Metro Tech.
And it does also kind of give us an insight. It also allows to celebrate their achievements. And you know, the good news, it's not just something to show like where is their problem or what went wrong, but also telling us what are we celebrating, what have you accomplished. So we appreciate that.
Thank you for those. Yes, Dr. Ray.
I'd just like to add, I know that took time. It took time for me to read it, but I want you to know it was time well spent in seeing comprehensively what's happening all over Metro Tech. That was really helpful for me. And I do appreciate it. So thank you, Dr. Collins and staff. It was very helpful.
Yeah.
Good. So it sounds like we met the intent of doing these reports. So that's wonderful. Board members, if you have any ideas of how you may want to see these or change, this is just a template that we use. If you have any suggestions on that or changes you might want to see within that template, please let me know and we can make those changes.
The only problem I would have, Mr. Collins, is maybe if we could get it like maybe even a day earlier, because it's quite a bit of material to cover.
So try to receive it on Thursday instead of Friday.
That would be very helpful to me.
Yes, ma'am. And that's a great idea. I think too, I'll just say this since you brought that up. It may be a good time to kind of even think and talk about, maybe not tonight, but you know, are Tuesdays even good for board meetings? Do we want to look somewhere in the later on a Thursday in the week? Let me just say why. So the board and all this information goes out on Friday, and then we really don't able to have a comment of any changes then for the board agenda. Where if we had it on a Thursday, we could actually do a 24 hours, right, Miss Joanne, and do Wednesday. But with us having it on Tuesday, we have to do it by Friday evening. Did I say that correctly, Ms. Joanne?
Yes. We need
So
48 hours virtual, and then for special, and then 24 for regular meetings.
So just something to think about in the future too, when we go to plan for those next meetings. So
I don't want special concessions, so we'll go with what works for the majority board.
Yes, ma'am. And please know that we can always have those discussions if we need to about changes. And so thank you, Ms. McKinney, for that information. It was a lot.
I will just also add that I liked where there was the titles that helped me understand what report it was. I know there was a few that maybe just had report, but it was helpful to know what department it was.
Great, that's good news to know, and thank you for the feedback, and why we also went on ahead and listed on the board report as well, or excuse me, board agenda, names and titles to assist as well. So thank you, Ms. Campos, and we will do better. Thank you for that information and feedback.
Any other comments on the Chief Officer and Associate Superintendent board reports? The mouthful. None. We'll move to item number 5. Superintendent Collins, the draft 2021 PEP for review.
So again, that's the Performance Excellence Plan. And what I wanted to do is really to give this information, to you and up to date with nominal changes from last year. And then for us to really put our energy as a board, as a district, as a team on really strategizing and working then on 2022 with, as you know, with a new superintendent, with many people in many new positions, new directors, really did not have availability and time to make huge changes on this. And so, you know, really would like to look at a strategic financial master and IT planning cycle. And so within that, then that plan would include, you know, education planning, you know, which would be a strategic plan, financial, a master and planning cycle. And even looking at, as you probably know this in your experience, Dr. Toure, is great districts really even do a 5-year strategic plan. And then they have broken out year by year the goals to get to that 5-year. So, you know, to me, that discussion would then, you know, start, you know, October or November for us to get together and really discuss as a group of what we're looking at. Really no formal presentations, but just to hear from you and your input, then draft a strategic plan in October or November. November, then being able to look at that through the eyes of Team Metro and Team Metro Tech, as well as our faculty and staff and employees. Then have our chief officers look at a needs assessment and then talk more to their departments. And then plans provided to the board that December, January timeframe. And then February of 2021, really start looking at how that will look like, and the board and myself meeting for a retreat to discuss matters of importance for future plans. And then really put that then into action with the district leadership and our employees of March, and then come to you with final approvals in April. That's really the length and kind of the scope of where I'm going. I'd love to hear your comments and if we're on the right path to that, and if you'd be okay with going with this 2021 draft. And then bring it to you for board approval then in October.
Any comments from the board?
I think that's a good plan.
Right.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds very reasonable to me.
And you're saying take this draft and then continue to further discuss it and then come back with recommendations. Is that correct?
Well, what I would do, Ms. Campos, is that, you know, we would go ahead with this draft 2021 and make it for the professional excellence plan for 2021. I do think that you're correct. I think this is a great starting point. What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? And then we can absolutely use this document to build out.
Got it.
Dr. Toure, I believe I may have missed your comment. I apologize.
Oh, no, I support that short-term and long-term goals. I think we need to be thinking ahead and longer than just a couple of years, you know, 5 to 10 years down the road as to where we want to be. So no, I think that's a great plan.
And so that would include strategic planning, financial, and in terms of a master physical plan too for buildings. So we can really look at all of that from a large scope. And I know, you know, Mr. Perry, I think that really helps us if we have that 5-year plan. And then we know where we're going. There's no questions. And then if we need to move or shift, we can. But we've got a good scheme of where we're going. If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. And we very important to plan, I think, long-term and short-term.
Good timelines are always important.
Yeah, and I would echo the rest of the board and say that I think it's wise for us to be doing that. I think we've all seen some challenges that have manifested themselves from having a shortage of some long-term planning. And I think that's something that we can learn from the past and find better approaches moving forward. So I really like the concept of us planning on a more long-term basis.
Great.
On item number 5.
So, Mr. Latham, may I say one thing again? Then we'll put this 2021 PEP for your approval for October. We'll go ahead and go with it, but then we're starting then to shift our ideology to the PEP for 2022 pretty quick around that corner.
That's fine.
Okay.
Sounds reasonable.
Thank you.
Wonderful. We'll move on to item number 6, the approval of the minutes. Do we have a motion?
Mr. President, I move we vote approval of the August 11th, 2020 meeting minutes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Joanne, will you call the roll?
Ms. McKinney,
Aye.
Ms. Campos,
Aye.
Ms. Richards,
Aye.
Mr. Perry,
Aye.
Dr. Teray,
Aye.
Mr. McKinney,
Aye.
Mr. Latham.
Aye.
All aye.
All right. Item 6 carries. Move on to item number 7, the consent docket. Do we have a motion?
Mr. President, this is Linda Teray. I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Joanne, will you call the roll?
Ms. Richards,
Aye.
Ms. McKinney,
Aye.
Mr. Perry,
Aye.
Dr. Teray,
Aye.
Mr. McKinney,
Aye.
Ms. Campos,
Aye.
and Mr. Latham.
Aye.
All aye.
Item 7 carries. Item number 8, general business. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve. This is Miriam.
Okay, we have a motion. I'll second. Do we have any discussion on item number 8?
Mr. Latham, this is Linda Teray. I'd like to look at item L, the continuation of the building space and the contractual agreement with the community action program. I'm just curious, I noticed it said to operate a Head Start program and center at Metro Tech's Child Care Center. Where is that? I mean, is that going to be on Metro Tech's main campus? Is that where the center will continue to be, in the same location, or just where, please?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. If I may say something on that, yes. So just remember, we are doing a remodel on
Yes.
that building, approximately 700, right? And then January, and then they'll be ready to go. And the plan is, and the contract does state January. So that's why we're asking for your approval tonight, and for us to be able to move on this quickly.
Thank you.
Excuse me, that's on the Spring Lake campus, is that correct?
Yes, sir. In the child care development building. I apologize if I'm not saying it absolutely correctly. I'm still learning some of the exact names. But yes, that building here on Spring Lake
So
campus.
if I understand, we do not have any child care facilities in any of the other facilities, as in Bryant?
Correct. We are looking and contemplating plans for the South Bryant campus as well, and for a early Head Start program at the campus.
That would be great.
But here at this campus would be Head Start with childcare, and we do have that program over in that building as well that Mr. Martin oversees.
All right, and President Collins, in the one of the documents you mentioned cooperating with Sunbeam, and that would be at the South Bryant campus.
Yes, ma'am. And we hope to have more information for that. Again, that's going to be at a little bit of an expense, and that we would need to build a building there. But with a cooperation from Sunbeam, they would be writing a grant to assist in preparing that building inside for Head Start. So, desk, things of that nature to do a Head Start, an early Head Start program, they would do. And we're in early discussion with that. When we have an offer and an MOU, we'll absolutely bring that to the board.
So it is something that may come to fruition in the future.
I hope so. I mean, I believe so. Is it going to, take some money to do so? Yes. Are we working on a plan to be able to send that to you? Absolutely. Have we sent our contractors and architect over there to look at a building to help with planning? Yes. So we've already started all those talks.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And then Mr. Latham, when you get to it, I don't know if the board wants a recommendation for D, but the superintendent is ready to give a recommendation for D.
Go ahead.
So D, employee district treasurer, my recommendation at this time would be Bruce Campbell, who's currently doing some consultant work for us. And knows iVisions very well. And that would be the main reason. He is known as the person in the state, and I've worked with 2 other districts and currently working with 2 other districts in support of iVisions.
Yeah, and I'll say just on that, I think that's a great recommendation. I know talking to Glenn Cosper down at Moore Norman and several other folks around the state, he comes with an incredibly high recommendation. So knowing that we've moved over to that system is something that I think from all accounts, both internal and external, takes some adjustments to get accustomed to. I think it's a fantastic recommendation because I do think we need some folks with some expertise in that particular system to help us get acclimated there. And I know that can be a problem for other districts from conversations that I've had with board members across the state. So I appreciate that recommendation, and I will say from my conversations with folks, he comes very highly regarded.
Yeah.
Any other discussion on general business?
I have a question. It's on item M.
Yes, thank you, Mr. McKinney.
I'm not so sure, my memory's not as good as it probably ought to be or once was, but I thought we had discussed this visual effects production issue before and decided we'd rather stay out of it. And now here it comes again, and I'm not so sure we want to be in it now. Is there some kind of good justification that I could see out of performing this service?
Well, I hope so, Mr. McKinney. It's really at no risk to Metro Tech. As I put in the letter, this is an opportunity for us to receive equipment and an opportunity to be a part of this. If it runs and goes, we get all the glory. If it doesn't, we have lost nothing. There is no loss to us whatsoever financially. If they receive the funds, we'll support it. We'll be the fiscal agent. The funds and there will be funds available to do that cost for us to do administrative. All equipment will be, owned by Metro Tech. So at this time, this is just a support of that. This is not a vote for application. This is a vote for support, and then we'll send the application to you and to look at that. Early indication is that equipment for our students and for our students to have availability to be a part of this production and to be in film.
Spencer is going to provide the facility, and we're going to provide the equipment will be provided to us or through us. Who's doing the instructing? Who has to get the teachers?
I don't know that we have that information yet because I don't know if that's been decided in the application. This was a support letter for that. Unless Miss Cindy knows particular in the discussion about, I thought, I don't know about the instructor. I'm just going to be honest.
In here real quickly.
Yeah, please, man.
Conference calls on this when they first came to approach us, and I connected them in with Superintendent Collins on some of this stuff as well. It's actually a group who purchased Green Pastures from the Oklahoma City Public Schools that approached us, and they have the ability to apply for an EDA grant, but they would need assistance from a educational institution to be able to apply for such a grant.
And do the fiscal management.
And they originally were wanting to do the fiscal management themselves, if I'm not incorrect.
Correct.
And Superintendent Collins, when he became part of the conversation, redirected that quickly and said, we're capable of that. We manage our own grants. We don't need to pay an outside entity to come in and manage our grants. And I thought that was a very important clarification by the superintendent, and something that I was happy to have him join the conversation on. On this, what is happening here is we wouldn't necessarily be eligible without them, and they wouldn't necessarily be eligible without us.
Correct.
So it is a symbiotic relationship in which we are eligible for a little over $1 million worth of post-production equipment. Post-production is one of the unique things in the film industry, where you're not required to be on site. You're able to do it remotely. So in the times of COVID, it has a lot of possibilities for our students. And so they approached us, and it came actually from the film office, the film commission at the state of Oklahoma originally, who was looking to expand facilities like this. And so they had mentioned to me, hey, would Metro Tech be interested? I know Cindy had had several conversations with them as well. Would Metro Tech be interested? And I think my answer was, if there's $1 million worth of funding out there for equipment for our students, heck yeah, I'm interested. Like, the devil's in the details always, but would we be interested? Absolutely. And so my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, Cindy or Superintendent Collins, this is for us to say that we are supportive of their efforts, that they can continue having that conversation, and that those facilities, which are not far from our Spring Lake campus, would be available to our students. We would have first priority of all that equipment, but it would be something that we would be in partnership with them, and ideally provide a lot of apprenticeships and things of that sort as part of that. And I know that that's something that we've discussed as a board. So I will say that personally, from the conversations that I've heard and been tangentially and part of, I think it's an incredibly great opportunity. Now, there's a lot still left out there to figure out, but it has a lot of upside for us in conversations.
Matt, I just want to second what Jimmy asked, and that is who's going to do the teaching and who's going to be responsible for that obligation. And will that be covered by a grant, those salaries and that sort of thing?
Keo, can you unmute?
I'm all in support of the idea. I'm not against the idea at all, but I'd like to know how much it's going to cost. I'm not going to. I want a very clear picture of that.
Absolutely, and I sent that to you, but here's the information from Miss Cindy.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. All of the instructional costs are included in the grant application as we are designing it. So including the coordination of the training. So those costs would not be picked up by the district. They would be picked up by the grant should it be awarded.
Okay, good.
And that's what I was trying to say, Mr. Perry. I apologize. Cindy, stay on the line. Don't mute her, Keo. If I say anything incorrectly, is that, from an ROI standpoint and from an investment standpoint, there's a huge upside for Metro Tech, and what services we do provide we will be paid in full for.
Good.
And the equipment
That's-
is owned by Metro Tech.
Well, I was involved in one of the meetings last summer
Yes, ma'am.
with Green Pastures. And at that time, funding was a big challenge. And part of it was discussion about what Metro Tech would possibly bring to the table in order to help make this work. I do have concerns about it, and I am all very supportive of innovative programs for our students. But Green Pastures is not a couple of minutes down the road if you know where Green Pastures is. And I don't have any problem with us providing transportation for our students to get there. But I do recall some of the conversations and some of the individuals who had some wonderful ideas about what can happen, but it all took money. And so I felt like at some point Metro Tech would be involved financially for this. And so I hear you, Dr. Collins, saying, and I hear you also, President Latham, saying the conversation has somewhat changed, and that what we have in our packet tonight is just a proposal to support the application. And if it is approved, then we come back to the table and we talk about what we're going to have happen. There was something also in here about full-time students, and I wasn't sure if what that meant in terms of who would be served. And so I want you to know I'm supportive of programs, that innovative programs that meet our needs. And this is certainly, I know, one of the state's initiatives that they are pushing. And so what I want to make sure is that we're not going to be responsible for trying to find additional funds for yet another program. And that really does concern me, Superintendent Collins.
Thank you, Dr. Toure. Miss Cindy, would you like to comment about the full-time and where we believe this would go?
The training grant is awarded for providing training to workers that are needed in the industry. Our students will be allowed to use the facilities. It's not designed to pull our high school students from the program that we have on our Spring Lake campus. It's designed to enhance if they want to go further with their education. So they are permitted to participate, use the equipment that Harry does not have in his current program at Spring Lake. But the impetus is the economic development grant funds are to help people who don't have jobs that can take the courses in a quick turn and get a job in the industry. And the employers that are supporting it would be those employers who need employees right away. Our students might be in a program for a year or 2 years. These jobs are needed immediately. They mentioned that there are 1,400 jobs needed this year. And so this training will be managed by the Economic and Workforce Development team because it's short term. It's quick turn training, not 2-year programs.
And Cindy, if I may, therefore, it is geared for the adult learner.
Yes. They said that if we had students that completed our program or that were really interested in taking that track, they would be welcome at no charge. They're also in the application, because of our district, 25% of the applicants to the program will be able to attend tuition free. So there's a subsidy for students, individuals who live in our district, but the courses are not, they're a month in length, not 2 years in length.
I think it's important to note they wouldn't be able to do this application without us. I mean, it's a very small needle to thread. And I think that as the application gets put in front of us, I think we need to keep in mind that we have a lot of leverage in this situation because they need us to have this application. And frankly, I think there's a ton of opportunity for us on our end of it as well. But I think to Dr. Toure's point, to Mr. McKinney and Mr. Perry's point, I think we need to make sure that this is something that's beneficial to us and that we're getting everything out of it that we need to. But I think, at least from the conversations that I've been privy to, and it's not extensive, but a couple, Dr. Collins and Ms. Friedman are absolutely correct that this is something that really augments what we're already doing at little to no cost, and in fact, maybe a cost benefit to Metro Tech. And so that's where I have a lot of interest. If we can have a benefit both for our students and no impact financially, then I think there's a lot of utility there.
And I think too, bringing them, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. McKinney, go ahead.
It seems to me it fulfills some of our charter or our purpose in providing someone with an education that they can go get a job for. I just want to be sure we're not going to be doling out money we don't have.
Absolutely, Mr. McKinney, and please understand, not understand, I apologize. Please know, that's why I sent this information and on your board packet, is that this is really a different and new discussion than what I believe anyone else than what you've heard in the past. Yeah. And as President Latham spoke about, it's a new discussion in a new way. We don't need to be paying someone to do grant writing. We have grant writers. So we're not paying to write this grant. We're just a partner in this grant. So a lot of things have changed, I would say, Cindy, timeframe wise, the last 6 months from the first time this has been discussed to today.
May I add, I just wanted to kind of go back and clarify for this particular grant, Cindy, you mentioned the jobs, but are we talking about in the film industry? Is that correct that you mentioned?
Yes, film and television, because of the exponential growth. As everybody, there's a much greater need for content now on different platforms.
Streaming platforms.
Streaming platforms.
Okay, that's kind of what I'm curious about, but I definitely, I know we've had many conversations and familiar with several from the economic development side as well, but I absolutely see Dr. Toure's point as well, as far as making sure that we are fully aware of what is being expected, and just because we would be a partner or needed to have the grant, we need to make sure that we are being valued as well. And since it is in a different location, you know, we've talked a lot about Metro Tech and who we are, what we want to be, and you know, I would love to offer the service in one of our buildings and not have to just send money to another location at our expense or our benefit. Does that make sense? So I'd love to just get a little bit more clarification on, you know, what would that mean moving forward and how would that look, and making sure that we get just as much benefit from this project as it's intended to be.
And credit.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully feel like the credit is there, and again, I think you got to go back and be glad, to be grateful. I would even use that term, that their willingness to come and ask us to contemplate this avenue. And so looking forward to more of a discussion with the board on this. I am asking you to approve the letter, and then, you know, they'll do an application. But I really like this ideology of next steps and what's next for, again, for no price to us, no cost. Let's say the film industry goes incredible here in Oklahoma City. Let's say it does like Atlanta does. Who then is the person that gets to say that who started this? Metro. And so I think even that is the reward that we're looking for, because remember what we're also mentioned to be is an economic development resource and support for the state. And so that's where this lies, is for that economic development piece.
Thank you for answering my questions. I feel better now.
Thank you, Mr. McKinney.
Any other questions on item number 8?
No, I don't.
I would like a motion to vote on item M separately. Is that possible?
Yeah, we can definitely entertain a motion to vote on item number M separately. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let's go ahead and call the roll on, this is to remove M from item 8 and have a separate vote for item number M. So Joanne, will you call the roll?
Mr. Perry,
Aye.
Dr. Teray,
Aye.
Ms. Richards,
Aye.
Ms. McKinney,
Aye.
Ms. Campos,
Aye.
Mr. McKinney,
Aye.
Mr. Latham.
Aye.
All aye.
Okay. So we are back to item number 8, sans M. So item number 8 without M, and we'll take up M after this. So any other questions, discussion on item number 8?
Mr. President,
Go ahead.
I don't know if I'm out of order with M. Were there any discussions about ensuring that there would be diversity when it comes to, you know, when we reach that point, if that grant is approved? I'm concerned about everyone being inclusive in terms of who is represented. I know Green Pastures is in a predominantly African-American community, and I'm certain there are individuals out there that would need jobs, but I just want to know if diversity is part of that discussion, because if it isn't, then I have concerns about it. I really do. And so I'm sorry, Mr. Latham, I certainly don't want to be out of order, but I wanted to ask if Cindy or whomever can tell me what other discussions have along those lines.
Dr. Teray, we can have those, we can make those questions and ensure that we're doing that, and then make that part of the application process next month to discuss and further, depending on how M is voted on. But we can definitely, that great discussion, and thank you for that reminder to make sure that equity and inclusion for all. Absolutely.
Yes. Amen.
And I'm so sorry, I'm gonna have to just follow with that. Is there a deadline for this?
There is a time crunch, and that's why it's on the docket tonight for the letter in support, and then application will need to be voted on in October. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this would be.
It is time sensitive.
Just for the letter.
Yes.
But not necessarily accepting the grant yet.
Correct. You are not voting on the application.
Just the letter.
So we could further dive into more details at that point.
Yes, I will just say, if depending on the vote on M, if the vote is close, I don't know that they'll spend the money to invest to write the application.
And I'll say that
We're not discussing item M, where this, all this discussion is out of order right now.
that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
For the record, we're still on item number 8. We can get to M here in a minute, but item number 8. Do we have any more discussion on item number 8? I don't see any discussion. Okay, all right. Joanne, will you call the roll on item number 8?
Miss McKinney,
Aye.
Mr. Perry,
Aye.
Dr. Teray,
Aye.
Mr. McKinney,
Aye.
Ms. Richards,
Aye.
Ms. Campos,
Aye.
Mr. Latham.
Aye.
All aye.
Item 8 carries. We will now move on to item 8M. Do we have a motion to approve item 8M?
So moved.
Oh, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on item number 8M?
Guess we already covered it.
You pretty well covered it.
All I'll say there is I think the conversations, hearing everyone's concerns, and I've only been in 2 conversations on this, so it's very limited. But from what I've heard, I think everyone's concerns have been articulated and are part of the considerations. I realize that this is a letter of interest and not an application. And I would say as such, I'm going to be supportive of it, understanding that there are a lot of questions. Like I said earlier, the devil's in the details. So I'd say if it's me, let's go ahead and get the details. And then we have the opportunity then to look at it. I think if anyone watches this meeting, they're going to have a pretty good sense of the tone of our board and understand that there are some things that we have a sincere interest in and some concerns about. And if they're able to incorporate those in an application, then it's something that I think our board can be supportive of. If they're not, then I think there's going to be a critical conversation from our board. So I would imagine that those out there on YouTube can find this and understand our tone. So with that, I would say, is there any other discussion on item number 8M? And if not, we'll move it to a vote. I see no other discussion. Joanne, will you call the roll on item number 8M?
Ms. Campos,
Aye.
Ms. Richards,
Aye.
Mr. Perry,
Aye.
Dr. Teray,
Aye.
Mr. McKinney,
Aye.
Miss McKinney,
Nay.
and Mr. Latham.
Aye.
6 yes, 1 nay.
Okay. Item 8M carries. Item number 9, personnel items. Do we have any, do we have a motion?
Mr. President, I move approval of the personnel items listed as item 9.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we discuss personnel? Scanning my computer screen, I see no discussion. Okay, Joanne, will you call the roll?
Ms. Richards,
Aye.
Miss McKinney, Ms. Campos,
Aye.
Mr. McKinney,
Yeah, well, we're gonna find some more bus drivers. Aye.
You're
Mr.
right.
Perry,
Aye.
Dr. Teray,
Aye.
and Mr. Latham.
Aye.
All aye.
Item number 9 carries. Item 10, encumbrances and purchasing. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
A second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on item 10?
Oh.
I'll just go ahead and say that I know from talking to Superintendent Collins that some of our infrastructure in terms of IT has been slightly overlooked in some ways and in a concerning way. And with everything that's happening in the world with the internet, I really am excited to see some of these things getting moved over to the cloud. And so I really appreciate Superintendent Collins' leadership in making sure that we're doing this and getting it done the right way. And even things like firewall support seem like very important in the age of ransomware. And I've seen other districts have to pay a lot of money to be able to get their data back.
Amen.
I'm really excited to see us getting to that point, and I want to commend Superintendent Collins, and I'm sure there are others that deserve commendation there, Superintendent, and I'll let you give them that shout out because I don't know them by name necessarily, but I want to say thank you very much for that.
I appreciate Jason Davis and the work that he's doing, and IT. Dr. Bills has been working with him closely as well. We're a long ways away from the amount of money that you'll be seeing spending on technology and infrastructure, but these are two great steps. I think eventually there'll be some discussions, security wise. Oracle is very expensive. I think there's some cheaper ways to do this and more secure ways. And that's why we're going to the next steps with a consultant and to get those infrastructures information to you.
There you go. Ask an expert.
Great. Any other discussion on item number 10? Seeing none, Joanne, will you call the roll?
Miss McKinney,
Aye.
Miss Campos, Miss Richards,
Aye.
Mr. Perry,
Aye.
Dr. Teray,
Aye.
Mr. McKinney,
Aye.
Mr. Latham.
Aye.
All aye.
Item 10 carries. Item number 11, adjournment.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
I absolutely love that she beats Mr. McKinney. We have a new McKinney for the adjournment tonight, and I appreciate that. Joanne, will you call the roll?
Mr. McKinney,
Before we go, and I will vote shortly, Mr. Collins, thank you very much for your leadership. Aye.
Mr. Perry,
Aye.
Dr. Teray,
Aye.
Ms. Richards,
Aye.
Miss McKinney,
Aye.
Ms. Campos,
Aye.
Mr. Latham.
Aye.
All aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you,
Good
everyone.
to see everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just want to say that is the first time I've ever been told I was out of order, so I appreciate that. I will try not to be out of order anymore.